Hello and welcome. My name is Bethany, and today we're going to talk about a map that I already built. Welcome to another episode where we build basic battle maps that any DM can use for any campaign. Today we're going to talk about airships. Now, like I said, I already built this map, and it was actually one that I used for a previous campaign. This map specifically houses 2 airships because the party had 2, and it was just easier for me to move back and forth between them on the same face. Now, this map was built entirely in Arkenforge, but the main body of these airships actually came in a pack. So almost this entire map was built using 2-Minute Tabletop assets. So there are a couple things from Forgotten Adventures. It's mostly like people and a couple decor pieces. But like I said, this map is almost entirely comprised of 2-Minute Tabletop. So the base for the airships came in a pack that I purchased from him. And it's already built. Now, that being said, I did add things to this map. And I did add things to the base, and I built the extra layers on itself. But the initial deck that you're going to see was not built by me. Now, later in the series, we are going to be building just a basic plain ship, but that's going to be done in Dungeon Draft, not Arkenforge. When I built this map originally, Dungeon Draft didn't exist, so I used Arkenforge, and it fit pretty well. I think overall it looks really nice, and I did spend a lot of time on both of these ships and the map in general because I knew my party was going to spend a lot of time here. As I said, there are 2 ships, one of which is named Sasha Fierce, and the other one is named Anubis' Wrath. Let's go ahead and take a look at them now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start in this. So this is, like I said, 2 different airships into one. This map itself, as I said, the base, so what you see here with that's why these 2 look exactly the same, is because I didn't build this. This is straight from 2-Minute Tabletop. He did it, like, I'm not gonna take credit for it. I did, however, add a couple things to this bottom ship here. And we're also going to go through the layers of each of the ships, and I will show you kind of what I did. So he has ship assets as well as the airship ones, and so I used the shipbuilding, which we will use later in Dungeon Draft. So I used the airship stuff as well as the shipbuilding in order to make these. So I did add these spikes that are right here, kind of near the ballista, and I had to place some things that were in this map just so that the layering looked correct. But we're gonna go ahead and do the tour. So something to add too, I love these little characters. So he also has a token builder that you can use from his website, and that's how I had all of my players make these little tokens that represent their characters. And you can change the color of all of this as well in Arkenforge. So this is the main deck. I scaled it up to be pretty large, and I also added like some doors and some other stuff in here. But I scaled it up because, like I said, I knew they were going to be on this vessel for a really long time, but also they made a deal with some giants, and we knew that they would be accompanying them on the ship as well, so that's why I made sure to make sure there was plenty of space for everyone. So like I said, overall it looks really good. They actually chose this. I gave them a couple options of what they wanted their ship to look like, and this is what they chose. This one in particular is Sasha Fierce, and this belongs to the party as a whole. But Anubis' Wrath belongs to one specific party member. We'll get to that in a second. So this, like I said, is the main deck. And then if we go up, we go into the captain's quarters, which actually on this particular ship belongs to Yogalore, our rogue elf, who is an assassin and does lots of nefarious things. So he claimed this particular room. So I gave him a bed. He's also a vampire. I don't know if I've mentioned that. So I gave him a bed with a chest, a side table with it like a vanity, another little side table here. My husband likes to play chess, and he made that a characteristic of Yogalore, and so I gave him a little chess set. We've got some trophies here because he is absolutely a murder hobo and kills lots of things, and does in fact have trophies from various things. So went ahead and added that in there. Bookshelves, a large fireplace, seating area, and I kind of stuck with his green-blue color scheme that he really likes, and also gave him a desk here. So moving up again, this is the crow's nest. So I didn't really do a whole lot in here other than place it, and Anubis's Wrath does not have this because I didn't anticipate us ever needing to be up there on that ship. They spend most of their time on this one, but we had to have Anubis's Wrath for a couple specific things related to the character who owns it. So moving back down, then if we go one level down, we can take a look at the Giant's living quarters, which this actually took me a little while to figure out because I needed to scale everything. And so I have these beds and this huge bathtub, and this pretty large seating area. Overall, I believe there are 7 giants, 7 or 8 total in with them. And so I wanted to make sure that they had plenty of space. So there are 6 beds in here, and they do all have chests and carpets. And then if we come over here, so Nadia is a tiefling warlock, and Roland and Romulus, this is their bedroom over here, so they both got pretty large bedrooms. Roland is an elf wizard, and his companion Romulus is a very large wolf, and so that's them over here. And then we have Nico, the Aesmer, who also kind of just like is around. He doesn't really have a room, or he switches back and forth between the ship and Anubis's Wrath. I made sure to put large tables in for the giants, smaller tables in for the rest of the crew. And then we did have our previous bartender was murdered, so we had to switch them out, and now there is a new one. Coming over here to the kitchen, I put quite a bit of detail into this one. I was really feeling these maps. I will admit I spent a significant amount of time on both of these. I'm talking like weeks. It took me weeks to finish these. Like working almost every day, like building them, changing the colors, designing the rooms, figuring out how I wanted to do everything. I spent a significant amount of time on these, like, not gonna lie. So I have quite a bit of food in here. There's another fireplace, barrels, the 2 chef and cook people, bread, fish, chicken, all that cool stuff. And then if we go down one more level, this is a large cargo hold, and this is murder that I didn't clean up. So we have all of the cabins down here. Some of their drow friends are in this cabin, one of which got murdered by a vampire, and then Yogalor became a vampire. I did also add bathrooms because why not? Everybody likes taking baths. These are 2 NPCs that they picked up from a town called Terrahile, and they spent a significant amount of time in Terrahile as well. And so they're gay tieflings who are both very high-level wizards and potion makers. And then we have Ursula, who is a lady of the night. She works in a brothel with her -1 charisma. She decided to join our party as a fighter, and hangs out quite a bit and is helpful and interesting, to say the least. We gave her a bath, a pretty large-sized bed, a full wall of books, and a seating area. So that's it for Sasha Fierce. Now, Anubis's Wrath I spent a little bit more time on because pertinent to the story, Anubis's Wrath actually belonged to someone else before Devin, our tiefling bard, acquired it with Roland's help, and she took the identity of a wealthy merchant tiefling named Lady Diana, and therefore also attained everything she owned and all of her staff. So this is her ship. So again, same basic concept at the top, the same basic concept for the main deck. The captain's quarters, they do have an actual captain on this ship that is not Yogalore. And so I gave him a full wall of books, a pretty similar setup as far as like the bed and the seating area and trophies and everything went. I just moved his desk kind of off to the side. Also, Devon's favorite color is pink, so we gave her some pink crystals. So moving down one deck, so this, like I said, was the ship that belonged to a wealthy merchant. She did have some salacious side activities, but we'll start here, and the secret room is coming up. So this kitchen is significantly larger than the one for Sasha Fierce, but it does basically have the same stuff in it. And then you have the two entryways for the very large dining room, servers, bartenders, cleaning crew. This ship in particular has a very red theme because of Lady Devon's activities and her hobbies. So then you move into the main seating area. There's another fireplace, somebody who plays an organ, very large sections of library and seating space. And then we get into Lady Diana, now Devon's bedroom, which is, again, very large and had lots of room for activities. So she's got a sunken-in bed space right in front of the fireplace and a large seating observation section around. And then Lady Diana also had three, we call them oil boys, three men who attended to her, similar to a lady in waiting, except men. And once she freed them, they pretty much pledged their undivided loyalty to her for getting them out of such a situation. Giorno is a drow, part of the band of drow that were on Sasha Fierce. They were all found together kind of in the woods, and he pretty much immediately fell in love with her. And she does not speak Elvish and he does not speak Common or anything else, so that was a very interesting interaction, but he follows her around and has decided to protect her with his life for eternity. And then they also have kind of like a little changing area where she can keep her stuff and a large bath. So moving down another level, this ship also, I gave them a large bath, like a public kind of room. And there's also two smaller pools that actually go down one more layer in the ship. And that's where, if there are any species on the ship that are aquatic in nature and need that, that's kind of where their rooms are. So this goes down another level and is connected. Their cabin space is pretty similar to Sasha Fierce. I think I made them almost exactly the same size and the color scheme is pretty similar. I just changed what was Ursula's large bedroom into two smaller bedrooms, but I did keep the bathrooms and everything like that. And then they do have, like I said, one more layer down, and that was the cargo hold. There's so much space over here, I honestly didn't know what to put in there. Yogalore wanted us to capture a dragon, but honestly, like I said, I'm not really sure what they were going to do. I gave them plenty of space in case they wanted to do something else. But this is the like drop entrance to the aquatic space. It fills the whole portion of this ship, and then there's also like where they drop down, they have a little place that they can pull up, or they can just live in the water. So yeah, that concludes the airship tour. So like I said, they spent a significant amount of time on these ships, and I wanted to make sure that they would have pretty much anything that they might need or have a lot of access to various things. So, like I said, I spent a significant amount of time on these, and they loved the way that these turned out, honestly. They still talk about them to this day. And I did too. This ship was used these Airships were used when we were meeting up to 3 times a week, so they spent a month real time on there. So that was anywhere between 4 and 12 sessions, and we play for about, on average, 6 hours, anywhere between 5 and 8. It kind of just depends on what everybody's doing. They basically had 3 almost separate encounters here. So the first one was the attack of the vampire goblin who infected Yogalore with vampirism, but that fight within itself actually led into like the murder mystery part. So you had that fight, and then you had the murder mystery of realizing, oh, he came back and started killing people on the ship. And then you had the roleplay kind of portion where they realized that Yogalore wasn't feeling good, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and then he became a vampire, and they had to figure out how to deal with that, and all this other stuff. And they also used this opportunity on the ship to figure out how they were going to deal with getting to the Dark Palace, which is where the big bad guy is, and figuring out how exactly they were going to do that, because they were headed to the capital city of the continent to talk to the queen and figure out exactly what they were going to do going forward. And then they ended up using this to bypass quite a bit of the travel they were going to have to go through, which I originally was not going to give them an airship, okay? Originally, they were going to have to hoof it the whole way there. But they kept mentioning, like, it would be really easy if we had an airship. And after, like, the 4th or 5th time, I kind of relented, and I was like, okay, they really want an airship. And so I gave them 1, 2, but I did make them work for it, okay? They had to get rid of Lady Diana, and, well, they didn't have to. But I did make them work for it. They had to do quite a bit of stuff in order to get this, and it's not like somebody just gifted them an airship right off the bat. When they got to the town, it had to be constructed, and so they had to wait in the town that they were in for it to be made, and did some side quests, and it turns out that the person who gave them the ship ended up being kind of a bad guy anyway, and so they had to do some stuff there. So they were essentially gifted it in the end, but I was not necessarily anticipating them taking Lady Diana's airship, and so that was a little bit of a curveball. This party is notorious for doing the opposite of whatever I think they're going to do, and so I really have to kind of prepare for everything with them. So it was a good thing that the bases for these were already made, and I basically just copied and pasted the actual building part, and then just changed the insides up a little bit to make them different. So it actually ended up working out super great, and like I said, they loved them. If you liked this video and want to see more about maps that I've already created, or if you want to know how I built the encounters around this map, let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.